Okay, what was that cuck image of Rishi Sunak? Can someone explain to me? You know when he's like sitting in the background. And there's a, if you guys don't know what I'm thinking of, wait. There's this image. That's the Prime Minister sitting behind this woman in a bikini or with loads of tattoos. I don't know if I can make it bigger for you. He's in the cuck chair. So yeah, the night pretty much went as expected. If people are wondering what was expected, if you're watching this as a video later, is that pretty much be a Labour landslide, which there was, but it wasn't as big as was projected. And what we're seeing at the moment is Conservatives holding some seats I guess people wouldn't think, some unpopular government members retaining their seats, so they'll still be MPs. Nigel Farage has just won his first seat. What is this, like the 100th time he tried? So what that marks is the actual mask-off far right, without really any attachment to other political parties. Like, you could really argue that most of the Conservatives are far right, but not all of them. And you'd still get some Conservative voters, probably a fair few, who wouldn't vote for them based on that ideology. But what this represents is the actual far right that resembles something more in line with France, you know, Germany with the AfD, or the Netherlands has made a significant gain tonight. Will probably gain of both Conservative and Labour seats. I don't know where they'll finish tonight. I'd be surprised if they came close to being the third biggest party. Don't think that will happen, but we honestly have to see. The big story so far is, I think for the first time in like a competitive election, that two independents have both won against the major parties. So Jeremy Corbyn has won by a lot in Islington North, which was expected, but there was a bit of fear because what they found on the doorstep is a lot of people didn't actually know Jeremy Corbyn was no longer in the Labour Party. He'd been kicked out, I think, in 2020, or suspended, and I think that was made official last year. And the guy who was running against him made his money, his fortune, because he was wealthy, on in privatised medicine. So Corbyn winning pretty much confirms to everyone, which I've been saying for a long time, he is one of the most popular MPs the country has ever had. Proved by the fact he won pretty handily without Labour. He beat the other guy by about 8,000 votes. Because, yeah, Corbyn cares about people. He wasn't just doing it for show. It wasn't an act. If you see videos, and I hope I'll include some of it here, random people in Islington North, he knows them all, and he's helped them with loads of stuff because that's just who he is.
Hey.
So we was experiencing homelessness here in Islington, and the council offered me a property, but it was taking forever to come, and at the same time we was fleeing domestic abuse, and I was stuck in this flat, and obviously we was unsafe. So I emailed Jeremy Corbyn directly, and he spoke to the council, and now we have this beautiful 2-bed council property, but it's like a converted house. It's so gorgeous, and it's in a nice area, and it's like from where we came from to this now, and it was because of him.
I promise that you weren't canvassing, you just happened to pass by and...
I saw him down there, I was like, I need to say thank you.
Hey! How you doing?
Just crazy. We were walking, like I said, for about 100 metres. 4 different people stopped us. Then we've walked for 5 minutes, and I think we've been stopped, 6 times? 7 times? The level of recognition he has, I mean, he can just walk around the constituency and it's campaigning, right? How many MPs can say that?
Back door.
How often a day are you being stopped by people? I mean, I know it's always happened because you're the MP.
Every 2 minutes.
Yeah, I bet. Is that a problem in terms of campaigning? Because disrupting you constantly.
But you actually meet more people walking around the streets than you do knocking on doors. Hello. Hello, love. How you doing?
We've been walking, I swear to God, 100 metres, stopped 4 times.
He's a nice guy. The country would have been lucky to have him as Prime Minister. Sadly, what is happening in this election is it's a massive win for Israel. Massive win for the Zionist lobby. But on that as well, someone who's been in the shadow cabinet a lot, Jonathan Ashworth, has lost his seat to another independent. I'm pretty sure that's the first time 2 independents have been elected at the same time. It's just, and the night's not over. So he obviously was in Keir's cabinet, and if you're in Keir's shadow cabinet at some point, you're going to be pro-Israel. And because the Labour Party have been fanatical in their support for Israel, way worse than like most Western parties, I'd say, he has lost to a pro-Palestinian independent candidate. And another message of the night is Keir Starmer has to be the most unpopular Prime Minister already by default, based on the fact he lost about a third of his vote, I think, or maybe 20% of his vote from his last election, an election where Labour got absolutely smashed in a landslide for the Tories. He's down, I think, 11,000 votes from last time, where the left-wing elements in his district have picked up votes, and if they actually all joined together for this, they could have actually significantly challenged him. So he is going to be our Prime Minister, and he got less votes than he did as an MP in one of the worst elections for Labour. And that says everything to people following this election is people are not voting for this guy. No one wants Keir Starmer as the Prime Minister. They're voting for Labour simply as a default option of not the Tories, because people are sick of the Tories for all the economic reasons, for all the other, like the sleaze of the corruption. They will vote for anyone but them. That's what you're seeing tonight. This is no win for Keir Starmer's corporate neoliberalism that he has, taken the Labour Party in that direction by purging all the leftists with fake charges of anti-Semitism. No one is excited by that. No one thinks Keir and Keith is going to improve their lives. They just voted for him because he wasn't that guy. The same thing happened with Joe Biden, and what's going to happen to Starmer is the same thing that's happened to Joe Biden. Everyone's going to fucking hate him by the time it's the next election, and he's probably going to lose, and the far right are probably going to win. And I'm not the only one who said that. Lots of people have, and we're seeing it play out in Europe. This is not the time for moderate incrementalism and being in bed with big business to not fundamentally challenge anything about the status quo. It's not the time for that, but this is the time. Apparently, Keir Starmer thinks these policies should be popular. He's backtracked on every pledge he's made. He is deeply playing into the it's not even a lobby. He's just for some reason decided to be transphobic all of a sudden, praising Margaret Thatcher, praising the Sun newspaper. He has no principles. This guy only cares about power, and he did what it took to get that power, but he's not popular. But this is a massive win for the Zionist lobby. This is not the Labour Party of Corbyn. This is not a Labour Party that's going to make your life better. Every single candidate who's new, who won, they're probably very, very similar to Starmer, and they're going to follow his lead on absolutely everything. There isn't really a socialist element in the Labour Party right now, and I don't know this right now because it's not the end of the night, but I hope most of the socialist MPs who remain, they do retain their seats, but we haven't seen that yet. But ultimately, this isn't a win for anyone. And if anyone is excited about this, the only people excited about this are liberals out to brunch tomorrow, because no one else will fucking care. Politics is not Harry Potter. Politics is not a sport where we're all super happy because Labour won and they're the good guys. No, Labour are just as bad as the Tories. Labour are the ghosts of the Tories from 2017. What the Tories did is successfully shift the Overton window, where we were already in Thatcher's shadow with Blair and Brown and Cameron and May and Truss and obviously Boris and Sunak, and now we're even more right wing. Tony Blair looks like some of Tony Blair's policies look like he's a socialist compared to Starmer. Starmer is nothing. And the same with Joe Biden. He was just there for you to project something on. And as more people hear him, more people are going to fucking hate him. So this election, sadly, win for the Zionist lobby, win for capitalism, win for imperialism, win for Israel. But there has been growing left-wing votes, and, we don't have proportional representation, which is a really annoying thing. But we'll see what happens with the rest of the night. The highlights are Corbyn stays. They didn't win that. They didn't get Corbyn out of politics. And Starmer, clearly unpopular, even in his own constituency with all that free media. So going forward, expect him to drop even more. And if you're dropping 11,000 votes between elections when the Labour Party is going to win a historic landslide, What does that say about you as an MP? Corbyn got more votes than Starmer. I'm not sure about the comparisons between their district, but I think as a vote share, he got more votes. So Corbyn in his district is way more popular than Starmer, right? And that's what you need to know, because one person who was going to be the Labour Prime Minister, if we could elect him, cares about people. The other one cares about power. And Keith only cares about that. That's why he is cozied up to Israel and the establishment so much. And what's going to happen next is Keith is going to do nothing. He's going to do nothing for 5 years, and either his own party are going to backstab him and replace him. I wouldn't put it past any of them to do that. Or he's going to challenge for the next election, and what will happen is he might win, but Reform and the Tories will probably gain, where he can't get anything done. And this is a depressing point I want people to think about. This is one of the biggest majorities Labour have ever had. They could do whatever they want now. They can literally pass whatever they want. Pretty much. Starmer could change this country fundamentally for the better. He could transform this country if he wanted to. What's going to happen is nothing. Like, actually nothing. My expectations are down there, and he's gonna fall below them. Because he has promised the business class. He's promised the capitalist elite. He is the manager. He is the manager of the status quo, and he's going to manage it. It's not going to be as sleazy. It's not going to be as corrupt. The headlines won't be as crazy or annoying to people, so they'll forget. They won't pay attention to politics as much. It won't be a clown show anymore. But it will just go on. It's Joe Biden all over again. Joe Biden continued pretty much all of Donald Trump's policies. Liberals no longer cared because they felt good about themselves. Oh, well, he's polite, actually, Joe Biden. He doesn't make me feel bad. He doesn't embarrass himself. So, well, he does, but doesn't say like mean things like Trump. So I'll just ignore that because it doesn't affect me.